Hello students, I am your English mentor and today I have come to you with a very interesting chapter and it's called The Little Fish and the Big Fat Bean. So there was a very little fish and there was a big fat bean, and this chapter revolves around these two characters. Now they are going to teach us a very important message and lesson. So are you ready to understand what happened when both of them met? So before we start, you have to find, and fish is an aquatic animal. Find the water animals from this word chain. Now this is just a word chain and you have to find all the aquatic animals which are given in this chain. Now fish is also an aquatic animal. Aquatic means water animal. Water animal means the animals which live in water. So without any further delay, let's just begin with the chapter. Now, one day, a little fish went out swimming in the water. So there was one small fish that went for swimming in the water. This was the first time she had gone out without her mother, and she felt very brave. Now, that little fish was swimming all by itself, and it was the first time that it was swimming without her mother. So, she felt very strong and brave. So today I shall swim on and on and on till I come to the end of the world, she thought. So this is the small fish who thought that I am going to swim on and on and on till I do not reach the end of this earth. So, and so on, she swam on and on till she reached the other side of the river. Now, since the fish was swimming in the river, she reached to the other side of the river. So, she could go no further. Now, since the fish was swimming and she could not go any further, oh, this must be the end of the earth, she thought. Now, she thought that this must be the end of the earth because she cannot swim any further. Now, the little fish saw a bean plant growing by the side of the river. Now, as you can see in the image, that the fish saw a bean plant growing right there. So, hanging from the bean plant was a big fat bean. Now, as you can see that this is the plant and there was this big fat bean which was hanging right there. So, the little fish thought that she had never seen anything so funny in her life. So, the little fish found that bean very funny. Hello, Fatso, she called to the bean. So, what did the fish say to the bean? Hello, Fatso. So, hello, skinny mosquito, the bean called back. So, the bean also said, hello, skinny mosquito. Skinny means anything that is very, very thin, and also mosquito is a flying animal. So, that is what the bean said to the fish. The little fish felt very bad that the bean had called her a skinny mosquito. Now, when the fish heard what the Mr. Bean had said to her, it felt very bad. So she burst into tears and hurried back to complain to her mother. So she just burst. Burst means she exploded and she started crying like anything, and she hurried. So the little fish quickly went back to her mother to complain. Complain means to protest as to what Mr. Bean had said to her. So, oh, mother, she cried, that big fat bean called me a skinny mosquito. And I am not that small. Am I, mother? I even have a tail. So the little fish said to his mother that big fat bean said me or called me skinny mosquito. But I am not that small. Am I? Also, I have a tail, so I am not small. So why did Mr. Bean make fun of me? Right after that, and what did you call the bean asked the mother. So the mother fish asked the little fish that did you also say anything to Mr. Bean? Nothing, replied the little fish. I only called him Fatso because he was so fat. So the little fish replied that I just called him Fatso because he was so fat. Did I do anything wrong in that? I just called him what he looked like. So maybe the bean didn't like being called Fatso, said mother fish. So the mother fish explained it to the little fish that maybe Mr. Bean did not like being called fat, just the way he called you skinny mosquito and you felt bad. So there is a possibility that when you called him Fatso, he also felt bad. Oh, mother, he really was big and fat, said the little fish. So after that, the little fish said, but you know what? The bean was really fat and big. So I just called it what it looked like. And then, what's wrong with telling him what he looked like? Mother, you must come and scold the big fat bean. You really must. So, uh, the fish said that I was just telling the truth and you should come with me and scold him for saying such a thing to me. So very well, said Mother Fish. Take me there and I'll ask the bean why he said such a thing. So Mother Fish said that okay, I am going to come with you and you take me to that Mr. Bean and I'll ask him that why did he say such a thing. So the little fish swam back to the end of the world, followed by her mother. Now, as you can see, that the mother fish and the little fish, they both swam to the end of the world, which is the end of that river. There, mother, said the little fish, pointing to the bean plant. There's that fatso, and now you ask him why he called me by that name. So the fish pointed out that there is this fat bean who said these things to me. Now you just go and ask that why did he say such a thing to me. The mother fish went near the bean plant. Good morning, Mr. Bean, she called. So when the mother fish went to the bean plant, she said, Good morning, Mr. Bean. Good morning, Mrs. Fish. The bean called back. And is that little fish with you, your daughter? So the bean asked, that is that little fish which is there with you, your daughter? After that, that she is, replied Mrs. Fish. That yes, she is my daughter. Tell me, Mr. Bean, what made you hurt my daughter's feelings? She asked. So the mother fish asked Mr. Bean that what made you hurt my daughter's feelings? So, why did you call her skinny mosquito? She has been crying ever since you called her that. So the mother fish said that ever since you called her skinny mosquito, it had been crying. So a child must not be rude to others, replied Mr. Bean. So Mr. Bean replied her that a child must not be rude to others as well. So she called me Fatso, and so I called her Skinny Mosquito. Now it was her who called me Fatso first, and after that I called her Skinny Mosquito. So if you do not want others to talk to you rudely, you should also not speak to them rudely. This is a lesson that she will remember for the future, and I think she will become a better girl for that. Now, Mr. Bean said that this is the lesson which I have taught to your daughter, and now she is going to remember it forever. And also, this is going to be a good message for your little fish. Now, on this note, the chapter comes to an end. So, what exactly did we learn here? We learned that we should always talk to others in a kind and polite manner. We should never hurt the feelings of another person or any animal by calling them what they don't want to be called like. Because if you are disrespectful, because if you are rude to others, they are going to behave exactly the same with you. and this cycle of being rude will never end. So always be kind and polite to everyone around you. Now, on this note, this particular chapter has come to an end, and now you and I together are going to attempt some conceptual based questions which are related to this chapter. First up, we have the comprehension. Take the correct answer. So, herein you are going to get one question, and for that one question, you will get three options. Out of those three options, only one option is correct. Now, you are supposed to tell me what that one right option is. So, let's start. Who went out swimming one day? A little fish, Mr. Bean, or Mrs. Fish? It was a little fish. What did the little fish see by the side of the river? Skinny mosquito, Mrs. Fish, or Mr. Bean? So the little fish saw Mr. Bean. So what did the little fish call the bean? Skinny mosquito, hello, or fatso? So the fish called the bean fatso. Who hurt the feelings of Mrs. Fish's daughter? Skinny mosquito, Mr. Bean, or bean plant? So it was Mr. Bean who hurt the feelings of Mrs. Fish's daughter. After that, we are going to attempt a question on who said these words and to whom. So, oh, this must be the end of the world. Now, who said this? This was said by the little fish, and to whom? She said it generally. So, it was said by little fish, right? And now we have next one. Next up we have, I am not that small. Am I, mother? This was said by the little fish to her mother. So we are going to write little fish to her mother. After that, maybe the bean didn't like being called fatso. So this was said by the mother fish to the little fish. After that, good morning, Mr. Bean. Who said this? It was said by Mrs. Fish to Mr. Bean. So we will write Mrs. Fish to Mr. Bean. A child must not be rude to others. Mr. Bean said it to Mrs. Fish. And now this is how we attempted this particular question. Now you are going to answer these following questions by yourself in the book. After that, we are going to attempt this word building exercise. Herein, for each word, remove one letter to make a new word. One has been done for you. So, the word grow. When we remove the word G, we get a new word row. So likewise, we are supposed to remove one single letter and we will be able to find a new word right out of it. So the second word is date. Now when we remove the letter D, we find a new word 8. So it is going to be 8. After that, at, we removed F here and then we remove T, so we got ears. And then other. How? Hat. And then all. So we removed first letter from all these words and we ended up finding one more new word. After that, moving on, we will see some grammar questions. Now, the concept is that look at these sentences. One day, a little fish went out swimming in the river. So she felt very brave. Now, the words little and brave are adjectives. But what exactly are adjectives? Adjectives are describing words. Describing words are the words which tell us something about the noun which is slightly in brief. So, an adjective describes a noun. Now complete the sentences by choosing the correct adjectives from the box. Now these are the words which we are given and they are all adjectives, which means that they are all describing the noun that we have. So we have to pair them together correctly. Now the giraffe is big, sharp, cold, tall or green. So the giraffe is tall. We are going to write tall here. And the elephant is big. The ice cream is cold. The knife is sharp. The leaf is green. And then match the adjectives with the correct pictures. So first up we have fish. Now how was the fish? The fish was little. How was the bean? The bean was fat. How is the feather? The feather is soft. And after that, how is the tea? Tea is hot and the clouds are white. And this is how we matched all the adjectives with their correct nouns. Now moving on, we will see some pronunciation and let's write activity by yourself in the book. Moving on, you will see some life skills and fun time activities. Now in life skills, we have been taught that judge not or you will be judged. That you should not be judging others because the way you judge others is the same way others are also judging you. So always be non-judgmental and take care of what you think about others because that is exactly how the other person is thinking about you. Now towards the end, you are going to fish are special animals that can breathe underwater. Check off the correct names of the fish body parts. Now there are many names given of the body parts of a fish. You have to tell which one is correct and which one is not. So this is going to be a multidisciplinary activity just for you. Now I hope that you understood the message of this particular chapter and you are never going to be rude or tease anyone by saying anything wrong which hurts their feelings. And if you respect others, others are also going to respect you forever. So, on this note, I leave you for today. Make sure you share this chapter with your friends and family. I am hoping to see you super soon with one more new topic. Till then, take care and bye bye.